We have about 150 children who come in our oratory every day from the nearby village, coming for evening playing, recreation, and then after that for classes in the study for the last 12 to 14 years. And these children's parents came to us asking us that can we get something. We just are not able to earn any money. We are not able to feed our children. So also we have about 100 ladies who study different skill training that we were doing during pre-pandemic times. Tailoring, beautician. They too came and said that our husbands do not have work, we do not have work, our children are starving, please help us.
This is the Church on the Frontline with Bishop Alwyn De Silva.
My dear friends, welcome to another episode of Church on the Front Lines. The Church reaches out to people in various ways, through our educational institutions, through our hospitals, through the community centers, to the boardings. Today we will see how the Church reached out during the pandemic through the educational institution. Welcome once again to this episode.
There were laborers and daily wages guys, and also maid servants because they were not allowed. Business had stopped. So I thought, let's do something for them. We got like 100 kgs of rice. We got dal, the basic needs for them. We got atta and some oil, and we distributed that.
And so that's how we started, from a small little place here in Karavegaon. We moved on to other villages right from Vashi, Khargar, Turbe, Nerul, Sanpada, Panvel, right across, and helping people. It was an overwhelming response. After about a week or so, I did not have much money in the bank, and it was just enough to buy maybe ration for the next day, and we were supporting over about 500, 800 to 1,000 families a day, or even more at times. And I was telling the Lord that I will look after the field, you look after the bank account. Every evening I used to go to the Blessed Sacrament and pray and ask the Lord to protect our community and myself. And I was really worried that how will we manage the day after. And just the next morning, one of my friends, he called me from overseas, some other friends here and there, and I slowly, the whole kind of thing built up. God took care of the bank. I believe that it was God's work, that He took care of the bank while I and a few set of my staff and volunteers were going around every node in the morning, afternoon, evening, night.
We are also working with the migrants. We realized that when they were all walking back home, how difficult it was for them. And we're getting to know each one's story as we meet them.
And the first time I found a man, he was walking, I asked him, "You have any food?" He opens his little packet and he has 2 small packets of Mari biscuit and a little bit of puffed rice, kurmura. It was very heart-rendering. They were walking along, very many of them being fleeced with money, being put on the trucks, 3,000, 4,000, whatever rupees they had, selling their mobile, selling whatever they had to go back home, saying that we do not want to die. And so we were going around helping them with a lot of food for their journey. When the train started, we started distributing food to those who were being picked up from the police station on the buses to the railway stations and the Shramik trains. So we started supporting them. We supported about 25,000 families right across Navi Mumbai, from Ulve right up to Vashi, Turbe and beyond, with every little node in between. As we continue to do the food relief, there were those who started getting into quarantine, those who could not go out. Some of the neighbors would not be ready to even help them. So We approached the local municipal corporation, got some addresses of a lot of the surrounding housing that needed help during the quarantine period. We have been taking groceries and food grains and leaving it at their door or at the gate for the watchman to hand it over to them. Then came the second wave. So many around during that second wave period needed a lot of medical equipment, whether it be masks, gloves, medicines. And so we started supporting different groups with medicines, different people. So with the oxygen concentrators, we started reaching out to different dioceses, to different NGOs, and to different individuals who were working in their villages, be it in the Jor Valley in Uttarakhand or in Himachal Pradesh, in Gorakhpur, in Lucknow, in UP, in Bihar, in Ranchi, in Patna, or in Tamil Nadu. We started sending these machines and different medicines and medical equipment due to the largest of people. We've not had over an excess of resources, but as soon as we got something, it went out to reach out to people, not just in the places where we are or where we were, but where people were most in need.
Then we've had health camps, we've had eye checkup, blood test and general health checkup, and we had cataract camp.
We could not let our children be out of studies, and so we started this e-oratory where you would be seeing them on a tablet or a phone, continuing their studies through collaborations with different groups that we made, this team Spreading Smiles. And that's how we reached out to about 22 NGOs across the country with this particular type of teaching of children and keeping them in the education space, especially from the slums and those type of places.
Children were very happy. It was something new. There was a lot of discipline with our children, and they've learned a lot. We have origami classes, we have art, we have craft. In between we throw in an English or a maths or history. So this way we keep the children connected. So we had dance, then we had singing classes, we had summer classes for the children. Now with the oratory, we've taken it forward with introducing the KG class. They haven't registered for school, but they are sitting and learning with us.
A lot of them came back saying that we do not want to get doles from you all the time, get a handout. So give us an opportunity that we may be able to earn something. So we started the NIOS, the National Open School, for people who were from the ages of 20, 22, right up to 48 and 50. Most of these who were in the slums missed out of school. So we opened the NIOS for these who were missed out of school.
बचपन में मुझे पढ़ाई नहीं मिला, अभी मैं पढ़ाई कर रही हूँ, 10वीं का एग्जाम दे रही हूँ, मुझे बहुत अच्छा भी लग रहा है और मेरे को बहुत मन भी लगता है। ऐसा कभी सोची नहीं थी कि मुझे आगे चांस मिलेगा पढ़ने के लिए और मैं ऐसा पढ़ाई करूँगी, सीखूँगी।
And it is joy to see them saying that I did not go to school, but now I'm going to school. I'm so happy that when I die, I will have a certificate to my name. I never thought I would be able to get a certificate to my name. And these certificates help them to get jobs in the local malls.
Many of the migrants want to study, but we realize some of them don't have proper documents. We have had various camps for ID documents like the Aadhaar, the PAN card, and we opened bank accounts for some people who didn't have accounts. So we taught them how to save money. We've reached out to people in Panvel, Kalamboli, Khandeshwar, Rabale, Belapur, Nerul East.
The urgent need was for prayers, and so we started a COVID prayer group, and that's how we got a good number of those from around our friends. Started with over 70 and growing, to pray for different intentions, pray for different people in need, affected by the pandemic, affected by COVID, those recovering, those who have passed away. And so there was a constant exchange for the need of prayers during the month of May, the Rosary, Adoration and the Blessed Sacrament. It kept our faith, the prayer support and the spiritual growth very strong with our group. Along with these prayers, there was of course those who lost some near and dear ones, especially young students in different schools, not just in Don Bosco School, but different schools around. And so we started getting together a set of counselors and also quite a few protocols put in place. And so we organized a COVID counseling support group for students who have lost someone dear to them and have been having difficulties, coping with those losses. And therefore we started another group, support group, which is going on till today. A good 7 to 10 sessions, an individual person online on Zoom, and then if necessary, of course, with their families too. So this constant support during these COVID times, pandemic times, is more out of the heart reaching out. It is more about not seeing what will happen to us. God has taken care of us. God will take care of us. God has sent us to look after those who are in need. And that's been the whole motive behind. And if we can, why not we stretch our abilities beyond those just within our reach. But those who are working elsewhere and who need support and cannot manage to get that type of support, we've managed to reach out to these two.
Come join the church on the front line.
Come join the church on the front line.
This is the Church on the Front Line with Bishop Alwyn De Silva.